You won't believe this. 240 volt plug-in solar, but with battery capacity and a limiter. And that way you can do a zero export setup in your breaker panel, not backfeed to the grid, yet make sure you're not leaving any power on the table while the sun is shining because you have a buffer with battery. So let me give you a demonstration because I think this is hands down the most cost-effective, fastest ROI solar power system you can buy right now. All of the components that you need to make this happen will be linked down in the description. However, as always, be aware that this is something that I kind of came up with. I'm not a licensed engineer or electrician or solar installer or anything like that. So I bring this to you as entertainment value and proof of concept. I would highly recommend you not attempting this yourself without involving a professional. Let's start with the solar panels. Obviously, we've got 4 370 watt bifacial solar panels. By the way, this video is not sponsored by anyone, but if you want epic solar panel stands that allow you to deploy a semi-permanent installation, you need these adjustable stands in your life. I'm going to leave links for them down in the description, as well as my full review video on them, so you can check them out further. I've got these solar panels in a series parallel configuration. So their wires are right over here. They come in over here. They run through this DC rated circuit breaker and come up to this smart MPPT solar charge controller. This can dump in over 2,000 watts of power to this battery. I don't have enough solar to max it out, but this charge controller can handle it. So its job is to protect the battery and charge it properly. And so these two wires right here coming up to the battery terminals are from this charge controller. Now, one thing I didn't have is a properly sized fuse for these smaller wires here. So I will leave a link for a properly sized fuse down in the description for your use. Then we have these chubby wires here, and they are coming over to a negative bus bar and a positive bus bar. These smaller wires need to be each individually fused or protected with a DC rated circuit breaker. So I will leave links for that down in the description as well, because I did not have enough for this proof of concept. But they're coming over and they're plugging into the 4 ports of this high power microinverter. This thing supports over 2,000 watts of power. This is from Misc. This has grid interactive features, and it also takes DC power from that battery over there and converts it to AC power and sends it through this trunk cable right here. Now that cable simply comes over here to this 240 volt plug. It is a male plug. That microinverter, like I said, has grid interactive features and all the certifications to be safe with the grid, including anti-islanding. So because it can't see grid power right now, there is no power. I'm touching those prongs. There is no power feeding these right now. It needs to be plugged into the grid, and then that inverter needs to see the grid for a total of 5 minutes before it even starts exporting power. So in my case, I had an electrician wire me a 50 amp 240 volt outlet. And then I simply have this cable that goes 50 amps to that 30 amp twist lock right there. Now for demonstration purposes, I have this kind of set up here in a sub panel just because it's a lot easier for me to film. So I actually have my power coming in through a dedicated 30 amp breaker in this case, because I'm not using my 50 amp inlet. So that goes to a different panel. Be sure that you talk to an electrician before doing this to have him tell you what size of bus bar your breaker panel has, so that you do not overload it, because you can overload it by injecting solar onto it, plus pulling power off of it with your standard loads. Very important. You do not want to burn your house down by overloading your bus bar. In addition to that, I've got a 2-pole breaker here that's coming down here and feeding the smart power meter, and then plugged into a standard 110 volt outlet is the Misc data transfer unit that is connected to the smart power meter with that little blue cable. I made an in-depth video about how to connect these all up, how to configure the settings and everything, so I will leave a link for that down in the description. But connected to this smart power meter are these wires right here, and they come up here and attach to these CT clamps. So those clamps can tell which direction the power is flowing from the grid, and as a result, it is able to throttle the amount of solar that's coming in right here and make sure that we do not export power back to the grid. So what I've got here is a portable power station. It's plugged in right here, and this multimeter is clamped around one of the wires coming from the solar. So we're actually producing just over 1 amp of electricity from the solar. So now watch this. I'm going to turn this power station up to 1500 watt charging speed. So there we go. We're up to 1500 watt charging speed on this. If we come over here and look at this multimeter, you can see it's actually ramped up to 5.7 amps of current. 5.8 now. And if you look on this power meter, you can see that we're only pulling anywhere from 13 to 30 watts of power from the grid. So that means our solar has ramped up to the point of actually 100% offsetting the consumption of this portable power station. You can see it's basically 6 amps coming in. So if you take 6 and times that by 240 volts, 1,440 watts right there. And then we saw that the balance is being made up by the grid power. Well, let me show you now. That is the power of this battery configuration because I actually don't have enough solar to keep up with that load. And you can see that right here in the battery app. Let's go in the shade. Can you see how we're actually pulling out about 500 watts from that battery? So the battery is actually making up the difference to offset the load because this inverter can actually produce over 2,000 watts of power, but I have only like 1,200-ish, a little over 1,200 watts of solar. Now the solar is still working. It's going full tilt right now. So basically we're immediately consuming the power that is coming off these solar panels, and then the remaining 500 watts that this is needing to run that power station charge is being pulled from the battery. Allow me to demonstrate. I'm going to flip this breaker. That is going to actually disconnect the solar. So now if we look at the app, look at that. It's jumped up to like 1,600 watts of power getting pulled out of that battery. And you can see nothing has changed here on the multimeter. We're still around 6 amps. So as far as this microinverter is concerned, it's still seeing quote-unquote solar. And that is the power of this setup right here. Let me show you where the ROI really comes into play. Because this is all well and fine. Great that we can supplement with the battery. Excellent that, if a cloud passes over or whatever, we're still going to harvest the full amount of power. But here's the thing. This microinverter can get throttled when the load is less than what the solar is producing. So we'll go ahead and turn this back on. I haven't changed anything on the load side, but you can see we're still pulling about 500 watts out of the battery because we're outpacing what that solar is producing. But now watch this. I'm going to turn this down to, let's go 600 watts. Charging speed. So there we go. We're down to 600 watts. You can see that the solar has throttled itself down now. See, now we're only doing 2-ish amps. And once again, that's because it's trying to kind of zero this out, right? We're pulling, 100 watts for a split second, but generally speaking, very minimal amounts of power coming from the grid. So the solar is still offsetting the vast majority of this load right here. But I got a whole bunch of solar out here that has a ton of sun on it, and it would be tragic to throttle the microinverter and clip all of this great solar production. Well, that's where this battery comes into play. Because if you look now, you can see that I am 500 watts positive now, going towards charging this battery. And so what's happened is because of my load getting decreased to prevent any backfeeding going to the grid, the microinverter system has throttled this down to match the load as we saw inside. And so now I'm generating more power off the solar panels than what this is consuming. So I'm fully satisfying what this is consuming, and then the excess is getting dumped into this battery. And so then I'm not wasting any of the solar. So this is perfect, because if you picture, let's say a heavy load turns on in your house. Let's say your air conditioner turns on. Well, this could ramp all the way up to its 2,000 watt limit, pull what it can off the solar, and then the battery will make up the difference while the air conditioner is running. Then the air conditioner turns off. Well, the sun is still beating down out here. So you're going to still continue to generate the maximum output of the solar panels, offsetting, your fridge that's still running and your TV and internet. But the excess power is going to be dumping into this battery so that the next time the air conditioner turns on, you can then draw that deposit of power, so to speak, into that battery again and make use of the power that the sun gave you on your solar panels. Plus, think about this for a minute. Your air conditioner is going to run longer into the evening time because it's trying to cool the house off after the hot day. This could actually help offset the cost of that running into the night hours when you don't even have solar anymore. Then fast forward to the morning, this battery will have been depleted most likely, or at least significantly depleted. Well, your air conditioner is probably not going to run in the morning too much, but the sun is going to be really shining in the morning. So these panels will just be absolutely cooking with tons of solar, recharging that battery while offsetting, minimal loads. And then when the afternoon hours hit and some of those heavier loads come online, you can draw this battery down again and make use of all of that power you generated in the earlier hours of the day. Are you starting to see how impactful this could be and how fast the ROI could end up being just with the simple addition of the charge controller and the battery? Of course, you could connect the panels directly to this inverter, and I've done that. I've got a whole video about that. I'll leave a link for it down in the description. And maybe that's the way to start, because certainly the battery is going to be the most expensive component out of everything. So go ahead and get something going, right? And then as you start saving money on your electric bill, add the battery, and based on my calculations, I would say it will pay for itself 4 times faster once you add the battery, just because you're able to wring out way more of the sun's power versus clipping it all the time with the throttled inverter. One important thing to pay attention to. I am going to pull the plug here on the power station. Here we go. Now watch, this is going to drop off and stop itself from outputting any power, but it takes a couple of seconds to fully ramp down to its idle state. So let me show you here on this smart power meter. I'm going to pull the plug, 3, 2, 1. See, all of a sudden it jumps up and then it's going to settle down, but this is all power flowing backwards. And there we go. Now we're minus, so that's power coming in off the grid, 4 watts. So why is that important? That could be a problem for a couple of you. Let's take the air conditioner situation again. Your air conditioner is turned on, the solar ramps up to offset it, and then it shuts off, right? Well, that's a big load shutting off, and the solar will have ramped up considerably to offset that, and all of a sudden it's gone. So the solar is going to react and go ahead and throttle down, but there is the chance of, for a short couple of seconds, you actually backfeeding some power all the way into the grid. Certain areas, like the great state of Utah where I live, there is absolutely no problem with you doing that for a short period of time or even for an extended period of time, thanks to our plug-in solar law that just went into effect and allows you to legally backfeed to the grid up to 1,200 watts of power without needing any kind of permitting or net metering agreements or anything like that. So for a short little blip as this ramps down, and I could potentially be, sending power back to the grid, that's not necessarily a problem. Problem would be if you live somewhere where it's explicitly not allowed to backfeed anything to the grid, and the smart power meters can know that you're backfeeding and trigger a notification to the power company and stuff. So be careful. Make sure you know what your, laws and regulations are and stuff before you start trying to set up a system like this. Let's talk about the battery for a minute. This is a 51.2 volt, 100 amp hour golf cart battery. I love golf cart batteries just because of their cost effectiveness, as well as the fact that they are rated to be, out in the weather. They have waterproof ratings, the whole 9 yards. So you could easily set it out here with the microinverter and the solar panels that are meant to be outside. Of course, lithium iron phosphate is not good for cold, so bear that in mind. However, they do make heated battery options. Certain things like these bus bars and stuff should probably be inside and not, out in the weather. But there's probably, water-tight bus bars and different things like that that you could incorporate if you wanted to. But I do think a golf cart battery or a couple of them hooked in parallel, there's nothing wrong with doing that if you wanted extra battery capacity. Heck, you can even hook up to 3 of these microinverters in parallel to each other. So you could expand this system in a massive fashion. But I also want to emphasize that, you don't have to do a golf cart battery. If you're going to have your batteries inside, you could easily get away with, server rack style batteries if you wanted to. I mean, heck, you could even do these big, wall mount style batteries. So it doesn't really matter what type of battery you use, so long as it's 51.2 volt nominal lithium iron phosphate. So I'll leave links to some of my favorite battery options down in the description. You guys can shop around and look at. Now another absolute fantastic use case for a system like this would be someone like myself that has an existing rooftop solar system or any kind of solar system that has specific requirements to the maximum amount of power you can backfeed to the grid. I can change those CT clamps to monitor my solar export to the grid. So that way I do not exceed what my permit level is. Then I'll bank the extra solar power in the battery, and then during the nighttime I could discharge from the battery, or multiples of them, and get more credits towards my power bill over a longer period of time, right? Because I can't exceed 7,500 watts of export at any given time, but I have no limit as far as how long I can export 7,500 watts to the grid, if that makes sense. So as this starts to taper off in the evening time, this can actually start ramping up and continue to bank even more credits into the evening and night. And then come the morning, when these panels really start cranking, these panels will too, but these will get throttled. It'll go into that battery, recharge everything, and be ready for the evening time to then discharge at a later time. There's just so many cool opportunities with this. And yeah, I'm going to put a shameless plug in for myself. I have a link down in the description to my lawn care playlists. I joke and say that my lawn is my second child. It is looking pretty darn good these days. And it takes some work, but it's less work than a lot of people think. So I have videos all about how I make it look like this. Comment and tell me what you think of this setup. Do you agree that adding a little battery expansion to a system like this makes as much sense as it does in my mind? So I'm excited to hear all of your thoughts and observations. You guys are so smart. In addition to all of the links I already talked about that will be down in the description, I have some additional resources for you guys. That's a place where you can book a one-on-one video consultation with me, pick my brain, get curated insight and thoughts from me on your particular systems. You can also submit a guaranteed to be answered question, as well as everyone's favorite thing, my custom channel search engine. It allows you to search any topic, keyword, or question in all of my videos, because quite often I've already addressed questions and concerns that you may have had in previous videos and you just don't know where to find them. And that search engine allows you to zero in exactly to the second where I talk about your specific keyword or question or whatever. So be sure and take advantage of all of those resources. This is not the last thing I'm going to do with this setup. There are even more possibilities and epic things that you can do with this setup that I can't wait to show you. So be excited for that. And please, on your way out, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hype. YouTube doesn't like pushing my practical DIY videos like this, and the only way to kind of nudge it is by doing those 5 free things. So I really appreciate your effort and help with that. Also, I want to say a huge thank you to those of you who are my channel members, who have donated to the channel, and who have done the super thanks. Videos like this that are 100% unsponsored are thanks to all of you, because that gives me the income that I need to be able to buy parts and pieces and assemble stuff like this and test it out for you. So I just want to extend gratitude and sincere thanks to those select few of you who have done that for me. I really, really appreciate it. And as I promised, all of that gets invested back into the channel for content like this. Be subscribed, stay safe, and we'll catch y'all next time.